Okay, so to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
My name is Milan, and I'm just I'm taking her place for the week. Would you like to leave a message?
No, I actually left a message for Jessica Mates, and I sent her some emails. I just want to, and I stopped by personally on Wednesday to make sure that she got the emails, which she did. If you'd be so kind as to remind Gail Brewer, the Manhattan Borough President, that the MNN producers, the Manhattan Neighborhood Network producers, are having a meeting tomorrow at our station at 11 o'clock in the conference room. And we asked the Manhattan Borough President's office, we asked Gail Brewer to be there. Even, she can send a representative from her staff, or she can be there personally. I also set up a free conference call number, which I gave to Jessica Mates so she knows. The feeling I get is that Gail Brewer is very uncomfortable with the producers asserting their rights. What can I tell you? We're not going to be stepped on, and what happened to us was unfair, and we don't have representation on the board, and our producer, who's supposed to represent us on the board, never talks to us. In fact, lies to us and says that she's not permitted to talk to us. That's ridiculous. So, there were important decisions made the last 2 years that we had no effective representation. They're null and void, and now you're getting some pushback, and it makes your office very unhappy. Tough. I mean that politely,
All right.
I'm not trying to, the Manhattan Borough President's office has the power of this franchise. Some of the things that are happening to us are very wrong, and to try to character assassinate us, bully us, appease us, play us off against each other, all the standard tactics that are used against people who try to assert their rights against the abuse of authority were used. And I was hoping, I guess against hope, that Gail Brewer, who's a powerhouse in the Democratic Party, would do the right thing. And instead, the feedback that I get, and I hope I'm wrong, and I sincerely hope that Gail Brewer proves me wrong, is she has a real opportunity to throw her weight around and be a real hero here. And some of the issues we brought to her attention were about the violations of civil rights by some producers who had their civil rights violated. They were banned without a fair hearing. One producer did nothing wrong. She just filmed an event on the street that was unflattering to MNN, so the knee-jerk reaction was to ban her. I mean, you're filming an event on the street? Are you serious? I mean, you just killed free speech. And now that we're making an issue of this, Gail Brewer's office doesn't like it, and the powers that be at MNN don't like it. So, go after whoever you can identify as being a leader and chop off their heads. I mean, come on, really. Gail Brewer is better than this. I mean, really, what are we asking her to do? Say you can't ban a producer without a fair hearing?
I'll pass this on then.
Pardon me?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, you were just breaking up a little bit.
Sorry, I said I'll pass this on and let them know about it.
Yeah, we had a meeting with Jessica Mates. I've reached out to Bree a number of times. I sent an email. I followed up personally on Wednesday. I'll follow up again. But we're us producers. I hate the way this is going to sound, and I'd like to apologize in advance. But we're producers. We can broadcast. We'll broadcast a consistent message. What could we possibly say? The truth is, makes Gail Brewer look bad, makes the corporations look bad, makes the Dan Coughlin and MNN look bad, but that's the truth. And now you're going to punish us because we tell the truth? Hello?
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, the sense I get is that we formed up a group of producers. We're pushing back, and now it's try to dumb it down, play the people off against each other, poo-poo it, minimize it, bully some people, threaten others, appease some others. Yeah, those are all standard tactics, but we're standing up to the abuse of power. And Gail Brewer should be, a hero here. She should be, and I think the timing is excellent because she was just elected like most recently or like a year ago. So, she has the only power the Manhattan Borough President's Office has is this franchise. She's supposed to have 2 seats on the board. She can come down like a lioness and say, excuse me, all these contracts that were signed and everything that's being done, all of this was done without the producers having effective representation. We're supposed to have representation on the board, and the person who was appointed on the board never talks to us, doesn't have a meeting, doesn't make a phone call, doesn't do any outreach. They got my phone number, they got my email. I've been around for 2.5 years. I've never heard from our representative on the board. When our producers made good faith efforts to communicate with the board, they were lied to and said, oh, the board's not supposed to talk to you. Oh, please, public access was put there to serve us, the producers. So what's really happening is we're the stooge, we're the front to amass all these materials, the cameras and the studio and the physical location and the bandwidth and the ability to broadcast, and all that's going to be taken private. And guess what? We just caught on.
Wow, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to talk about with Gail Brewer. And let me tell you something. This is the same thing that happens in basic science research. Public grants are given to support basic science research. A discovery is made, and then that discovery is taken private to some corporation that makes a fortune, but the people are never paid back. So that's wrong, because that's our investment in basic science research. So the issues that we're talking about at MNN, first of all, we have 2 producers who are banned without a fair hearing. One of them happens to be Dee Dee Halleck. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. The only thing this woman did was film an event on the street and publicize that event. It made Dan Coughlin look bad, so he banned her without a fair hearing. You can't do that. That's a civil rights violation. Another producer was also banned without a fair hearing. You can't do that either. That's a civil rights violation. Okay, unless you can show me a written, published hearing procedure that fully comports with the spirit of the law, you cannot take any adverse action against these people. Now, here's how serious Dee Dee Halleck's case could get. There was a woman on the street who was filming the police and performance of their duty. And the police didn't like it, so they arrested her, dropped her in central booking, and roughed her up for 24 hours. She's suing. That's a huge free speech issue. Can you imagine if reporters...
Oh, that's crazy.
Pardon me?
I said, yeah, that's crazy.
Can you imagine reporters on the street filming a police officer in the execution of his duty, and it wasn't flattering to him, so they beat up the reporter? That's what happened to this woman. A former attorney that worked for the ACLU is representing her. Her case will probably go to the Supreme Court. Well, guess what? MNN did it to Dee Dee Halleck. Dee Dee Halleck is a professor emerita of the University of California, San Diego. This is one like the finest academic institution. She was nominated for an Academy Award, and Dan Coughlin had the temerity to ban her because she filmed an event on the street that made him and MNN look bad because she exposed their abuses of power? Oh my goodness. Gail Brewer should be coming down like God from heaven, down to MNN and throwing her weight around and saying, no way in heck are you going to be doing this. And wouldn't she be a great big hero?
Yeah.
Yeah. Please, Gail Brewer, be a hero. What are you championing here? I don't care what this person did, even if they were 1,000% in the wrong. You don't take any adverse action until there is a fair hearing, which means you got to get a group of people together. There has to be a certified verbatim transcript. That person gets to face their accusers, and you can't do any of this stuff. That fully comports with the spirit of the law. A 2-page written hearing procedure, they don't want that, because they want to intimidate us. In fact, one of our producers who told the truth about another producer who was banned without a fair hearing, she got screamed at. Thank you. They did it in front of witnesses to intimidate and bullying her. She sent out an email saying she's afraid to speak up now because she's afraid they're going to come after her. These are the fear tactics, the intimidation tactics that are used to silence us. Are you serious? No, thank you so much for listening. And now, that's one issue. Now, that's one big important civil rights issue. And let me tell you something. New York City, I believe, I haven't triple checked, but I believe, so I would have to triple check. New York City was incorporated as a corporation, and I believe that their powers to act, they can only act within the limits of the U.S. Constitution. So if you're violating, someone's constitutional rights, which obviously you are, and you get public money, New York City is imperiling its very right to exist. Gail Brewer should be down here screaming her head off. This is the very strict legal argument that I'll spoon feed to her if I have to, and I'm sure she can double check with her attorneys. So, now that's one issue, the civil rights issue. The other issue is, for the last 2, maybe 3 years, some very significant decisions were made on the board of MNN. The producers are supposed to have a representative. We do. That representative never talks to us, so we can demonstrate that while she's voting to make decisions, she never talks to her constituency. So, she's told how to vote. Are you kidding me? And when we sent 2 producers to the board to speak with her, she told them, and they'll sign affidavits, she told them explicitly, I'm not allowed to talk to you. I'm like, oh, please, what, you just make this stuff up? Or they'll have a board meeting, they'll let you in for 10 minutes, then they'll say, okay, now it's a closed meeting, they'll shuffle you out the door. They'll have a board meeting, there isn't enough room, so you can't sit in the room. I mean, come on with this this is the petty power politics. The bottom line is, our representative on the board cannot show over the last 2 years that she held an open public meeting, that she sent an email, that she made a phone call, that she in any way communicated with her constituencies. So all those decisions are null and void. You know how embarrassing this is for the elected officials in New York and for Dan Coughlin, who runs the place? You made contracts with big corporations that are all now null and void, and you look stupid because you're trying to pull a fast one, because what's really happening here is all the people paid for those cameras, for that building, for the location, for the bandwidth, everybody paid on their Comcast bill. Now all these materials and resources have been amassed. Now if we get rid of the producers, us schmucks, we can take all of those resources private, sell it, nobody will know because everybody will keep their mouth shut and they're all a bunch of dumb bunnies anyway. Wow. Hello, Gail Brewer. Could you please come to our meeting tomorrow? Because we're not going to be silent about this. And by the way, the people that you're picking on, we've been through the mill. There's nothing you can do to us that hasn't already been done. These are our rights to free speech. If we go down, free speech goes down. This is the war. This is the constitutional issue, and we will fight this, and we will not surrender. So please, send Gail Brewer down.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.